healthcare has continually impacted that bonus. So that's another carrot there too to get employees engaged with the program, is it impacts your bonus. That's money today. That's money you can touch, and it'll help engagement if you communicate it like that.
Yeah.
And I think we really may be the only advisors in the country doing this. Open enrollment meetings, what they've typically been like, and I'm sure everyone that's listening has been a part of it. You learn about your deductible, you learn about your copays, your out-of-pocket max, you hear about your network, and these things are great, but we've learned that those are more one-on-one conversations. If an employee isn't familiar with their deductible, their copays, schedule time with an advisor and really learn about your benefits. What we're doing when we have a company-wide meeting, employees are taking the time to be on a call or be in person. We're explaining the why and what's happening with healthcare nationally, what the impact is for that company, and then the opportunity they have, and then what employees can do to make an impact on that opportunity. It is a night and day difference, and we're leaving those calls, those meetings, with an employee population who is determined and excited to make an impact on healthcare.
Yeah, and especially after they know the why, right? And I think that's the key piece of all this. Employees have to know why, what's happening, and that's where we've seen the engaged groups that either have the ownership culture, they have the ownership mindset, or they have just a group ability to look at something and say, hey, we're in this together. Let's roll up our sleeves. Let's figure it out. They understand the why, and I think that takes me to a group we worked with out of the Northeast, out of Boston. And this is where there's nothing in this world that's a one-size-fits-all. It does not exist. And to think that there is really a disservice to not just employers, it's a disservice to advisors, it's a disservice really to the entire industry. There's nothing that's a one-size-fits-all. And specifically with this group out of the Northeast, we engaged with them, and they have a really good program. And they weren't really frustrated with it. Costs were okay, but they were used to the 10 to 20% year over year increase. They have a very healthy business that's been in growth mode. But for them, they had never taken the step back and said, hey, why are we getting 10 to 20% increases? It doesn't make any sense.
And I think they have 400 employees.
Yeah.
So 10 to 20% increase on that spend, it's significant, but like you said, Brandon, very profitable business. What we shared though was, let's project this out over 5 years.
Yeah.
What is 10 to 20% compounded on this multi-million-dollar spend do? Yeah. The CFO, eyes got wide, light bulb went off, and she was engaged with whatever we were going to present.
Yeah.
And like Brandon mentioned, there's not one product that we presented that was going to fix their problem, because there's not one product that's a one-size-fits-all. You have to share multiple solutions based off what a company wants to accomplish, and what they wanted to accomplish was not friction. They didn't even want their employee owners to realize there was any changes being made. So it was slight tweaks to have a long-term impact on their spend for their employees, which is very different from a client looking to save 40% in year one.
Yeah, and the thing with this group specifically, and I love their approach of it, and they were 100%, hey, employee first, no friction. Let's make this as seamless as possible. And that's what we did, and for them, they now have transparency, visibility, and really the only, I would say, friction in the first 60 days was on the pharmacy side and how some drugs were filled. And it's always the CFO, it's always the COO that has the issue. And same thing happened with this group when we talked there. I said, hey, it'll be simple, it'll be seamless. And we reminded them, hey, in the first 60 to 90 days, here's the number one thing that happens. But for them, the friction has been worth it because they know where they're headed. They know the opportunity they have, not just in year one, but over the next 5 years. They know who they're pulling their risk with now. They know what's driving their cost. They know why they're doing what they're doing. Employees know why they're doing what they're doing. And now, even early on in their program, employees are already starting to talk how it's better than where they were at. And it hasn't come without some hurdles. There has been some hiccups. We tried to make it as seamless as possible, and it wasn't perfect. But the number one thing we've seen with them is we have the ability now with their ecosystem to jump in and help. We can fix things sometimes within 30 minutes. Whereas before, they were waiting a week, 2 weeks on a response and answer. And today, I would say what they would tell you is that engaging early on in the process, seeing what our team was able to help them build a vision of, what we helped to show them, even though it was really on a shorter timeline when we started that, they would now say that they can't imagine doing it any other way. And I think now in our conversations, through looking at data and how we're managing in that and what we're going to recommend to deploy, mid-year and then at renewal next year, they're starting to have the confidence to be the ones to drive the program. And you're seeing it within their own team now. They're saying, hey, yeah, this is something we want to do. We want to help. Where initially there's a lot of skepticism, some folks on their team, but now they're all in because they're seeing the benefit of it. So it's been really neat with them specifically, being in their market. It is kind of it's a different market when it comes to the networks and the carriers and things like that. But the really cool thing from our seat has been seeing them, buy into the vision, seeing folks on their leadership team complement the program now. And even with some hurdles and some headaches, being all in and understanding that for them long term, it's the best place they can be. And that now they have the ability to pull the different levers year over year. They have the ability to actually build that vision. And it's not contingent on, well, this is a great vision, but what if we get a 40% increase? And if they do run poorly one year and there is a significant cost increase, we'll have a plan for that. We'll be managing the claims ahead of time. We will know what's coming. We will know how to advise in advance. Hey, here's what's coming. We need to focus on this. We need to help mitigate this cost, or we need to deploy this program. That's something before they had zero access to.